In the 5th century BC, a Greek writer named Herodotus traveled across the Mediterranean to study the known world. When he arrived in Egypt, he encountered a society that shattered his understanding of how humans were supposed to live. He recorded a specific observation for his Greek audience. The Egyptians had established manners and customs in a way that was exactly opposite to the rest of mankind. He noted that Egyptian women frequented the public markets and ran the trade, while the men stayed inside their homes to weave. While other nations separated their daily living from their livestock, the Egyptians lived indoors right alongside their animals. Even their written language defied Greek logic. While a Greek scribe carried his hand from the left side of the page to the right, the Egyptians carved their characters starting on the right and moving to the left. Herodotus was looking at an ancient superpower that engineered monuments and organized a massive economy on a scale dwarfing anything the Greeks achieved. What environmental force engineered this inverted society, where the impossible was entirely normal? The answer lies in a single geographic anomaly, the Nile River. This map tracks the flood cycles of the ancient world's major waterways. Notice the standard European rivers peaking in the winter months. The Nile, however, begins to swell in volume precisely at the summer solstice. It floods for 100 days during the most scorching heat of the year, right when every other known river dries up. This extreme summer flood turns the entire desert plain into a temporary sea. The dry land vanishes, and the cities are left rising above the water like isolated islands. To travel anywhere, the Egyptians navigated directly over their submerged farms by boat. Living in this harsh, highly predictable cycle bred an obsessive reverence for the local wildlife that shared the river ecosystem. Select communities captured apex predators like the crocodile and trained them to complete tameness. They fed them appointed victims of sacrifice and adorned them with heavy ornaments of molten stone, gold earrings, and anklets. The societal devotion to cats was so extreme that if a building caught fire, Egyptians formed a perimeter to watch the cats and ensure they didn't leap into the flames, ignoring the burning structure entirely. And if a family cat died a natural death, the human occupants shaved off their own eyebrows in mourning. These animal cults appear bizarre in isolation, but they are the direct reflection of a society wholly dependent on the extreme, predictable forces of the river that gave them life. That intense focus on controlling the natural world extended directly to the human body. The Egyptians developed a rigorous obsession with purity and physical preservation. To avoid carrying lice or anything foul while serving the gods, their priests shaved their entire bodies every other day. They washed themselves in cold water twice during the daylight and twice again in the dead of night. This fixation on the physical form peaked when a life ended. They engineered a highly precise, multi-tiered process for embalming, the chemical treatment of a corpse to prevent it from decaying. This diagram illustrates the initial stage of their most expensive embalming method. A specialist inserts a crooked iron tool directly through the nostrils, using it to extract the brain piece by piece, flushing out the rest with harsh drugs. They then inject oil extracted from cedar wood deep into the body cavity. They clamp the body shut and let it sit. The highly acidic oil slowly dissolves the stomach and intestines. Finally, the empty cavity is drained, cleansed, and packed tight with spices. They kept the reality of this process front and center. At wealthy banquets, a man carried a highly detailed, carved wooden corpse around the room, presenting it to the guests. He told them to drink and be merry, because this wooden figure was exactly what they would soon become. To the Egyptians, death was not a mystery to be feared. It was a highly engineered, physical continuation of their rigidly structured world. The exact same obsession with structure and preservation that guided their funerals also drove their monumental engineering. They terraformed their environment on a massive scale. When King Men decided to build the city of Memphis, the Nile was flowing right through his desired location, so he built massive earthen embankments, physically dammed the old stream, and rerouted the entire river to flow through the middle of the mountains instead. He built his city on the newly dried riverbed. That relentless drive to reshape the earth resulted in a vast network of artificial channels that crisscrossed the entire country. It produced the towering, mathematically precise geometry of the pyramids, constructed from millions of tons of quarried stone. The Greeks inherited the names of their gods, the structure of their religious ceremonies, and the foundations of their mathematics directly from these Egyptian predecessors. Because the Nile's annual flood repeatedly washed away the property lines of the local farmers, the king's men constantly had to remeasure the land to adjust their taxes. That strict geographic necessity gave birth to the art of geometry, the mathematical measurement of the earth, which the Greeks later adopted as their own. Egypt proves that a society can be organized in completely alien ways, shaped entirely by its geography, and still build wonders that outlast time itself.